Hey everybody, welcome into the Real Estate Minute Show. Got some data for you today that might be a bit shocking about the state of homeownership in California. So buckle up. Here we go. Thanks for coming in and giving us a couple minutes of your time today. So we look at something called home ownership rate when you're kind of digging into some of the statistics. That's a tough word. Statistics on different states. Homeownership rate means what percentage of the population in that state owns a home, which means a lot of times how many people what percentage of that state can afford a home and they own it. The rest of the percentage is renters because they live somewhere, correct? So you look at California. So I was on a call yesterday and I got the shocking statistic that California has a 55.2% home ownership rate, which means that just over half the people in the state of California own a home or can afford to buy a home. We are number 49 of 50. The only one that beat us that's even more unaffordable is New York. Everybody else, it's a bit more affordable, such as places in the South. One of them is South Carolina, for instance. I think is number 3, and they're in the 70s. 73%, I believe it is, homeownership rate. So California is one of the lowest, and it is declining rapidly. In addition to that, what do you think? Okay, we need more homes. We need to make homes more affordable. How do you do that? Well, there's other kinds of policies and stuff, but we need to build more homes. In order to build more homes, what do? It needs to be cost effective for the developer to build a home. They got to be able to build it for $1 and sell it for $1.50. That is difficult in California. There's tons of regulations, tons of delays, huge fees, construction costs are off the chart, but there's all kinds of things in California that de-incentivize a developer to build homes for the massive degree of homes that we need. Right now, California reportedly is 3.8 million homes behind. That's how many homes that it will need over the next term. I forget how many years it is in order to satisfy the current demand for homes in California to lift that home ownership rate up to a more normalized level where it's really sunken down, super unaffordable in California. We are building right now. Number is kind of fungible, but I believe it's about 150,000 homes a year, units a year. We're barely scratching the surface. In California, the amount of homes that are being built versus the demand of homes that we need is almost like paying the minimum on your credit card bill, and that balance will just keep going forever. Okay, that's kind of where we're at, the way I look at it with the housing market here. So what does that mean? What that means is that California is turning into close to a renter state, which means that the majority of this 55% will start tipping down into the 40%, which means that less than half the people in the state own or can afford to own a home in the state that they work and live in, which means that the rest of the state, meaning more than half of it, will become renters, which means rental property is amazingly attractive, even though California has one of the most restrictive tenant rights out there. But it will become and continue to be incredibly attractive. Rents will continue to go up. And the state, in response to that, will likely put more controls and rent controls on there than they already have. And it's just this squeeze. So there's this interesting thing going on in California with regard to that. The homeownership rate, the rental market, the affordability of rents in the state. Sometimes the state, and when they're faced with something like this, that's when a state becomes fairly socialized in the sense that they start trying to control the housing supply. There's even some bills in California that are being discussed that might pass that talk about if you want to sell a multifamily property, you first have to offer it to a nonprofit that's sponsored by the state first to satisfy a housing need before you can go in the public market. All kinds of things that I see in the future of California being more of a controlled renter state. It's a bit daunting. However, for the housing market, prices will continue to rise. It'll continue to be unaffordable until we start building more homes. And in order to build more homes and try to make, I'm talking 500,000 new units a year to get up with that demand. In order to do that, we have to reduce regulations. We have to incentivize the developers in order to build so they can make $1. They just want to make $1 on the investment instead of losing money out of the gate. All right, that's a current statistic. There's a lot of questions surrounding that, but I thought I'd toss those out to you because I thought it was real interesting. We'll see you next week on the Real Estate Minute Show. Thanks for tuning in.